Hey guys, you may have noticed that there is no spot to track your habits today in SugarWOD. Day 30 was yesterday. Today doesn't have to be nothing, it can be day 31. We're going to talk about what's next, how to think like a train, how to reverse engineer, and then what to do if you need some help. Okay, so what's next? When I say hopefully day 31, the whole point of this was to set up habits that are going to make small changes in your life and then lead to big changes over time, right? Same way as if you were to work out really hard for 30 days, you'd probably see a lot of benefit from that in a number of different ways. If you stop at 30 days, then it doesn't take too long for all of those to kind of go away and you're sort of back where you started, right? So maybe a better approach would be, rather than going all in with something, is to just maybe make a little slight shift, right? So hopefully you've chosen things where you can just roll into day 31, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about where you can track that stuff, and a couple apps that are actually set up to do this a little bit better than SugarWOD. We just wanted to kind of do it together. So one that I've been using for almost 2 months now is called Streaks. It's only available for iOS, for Apple users. I've gotten a few people onto it already, and it's very simple in the way it's set up. You can customize basically any task that you want. There's lots of recommendations in there. If you're on Android, then there's going to be a lot of other options. I looked up a few, and there's one called Grow that looks fairly simple. I think you want simple when it comes to these type of apps. You don't need a whole super robust system. You just need something to track whether you did the thing or not and how often you want to do it, right? They'll also learn about you a little bit. Like for me, I've got one to take greens and vitamin D, and if I don't do that by 8 o'clock in the morning, it will send me a little notification. You can also turn those notifications off if you don't want that. Think like a train. What does this mean? So a train can go from traveling north to traveling south, but it can't make a 90-degree turn, okay? So this is kind of back to that all-in type thing. When someone goes all in with something, it's usually not too long before they're not doing that thing anymore. Whether they've just decided to take on way too much and it's way outside of what their normal life looks like, and they reach burnout, or whether they're just that type of personality and then the next kind of shiny thing comes along and they're onto that and they've lost interest. The way to really kind of create change is to do small things for a long time, right? And gradually, those small things, once, example for working out, right? So a small thing might be to commit 3 hours a week to working out, right? Basically 3 times a week. Once you've done that for a year, a small thing would be adding a 4th day of the week, or 4 hours of training, right? So it's not going all in, it's creating that little change that gradually changes your direction. Then before you know it, you've made that 90-degree turn. You're a different person, different habits, different life, right? So think like a train when you are when you're thinking of what to do for your habits, okay? Reverse engineering. So this is another way to think of things. So I'll give you an example that I'm using right now. So we want to think of our end goal, like where do we actually want to be, like what and why? Why do we want that? And then what will it take to get there? And then where would be a smart place to start? And that's the think like a train, right? So for me, a lot of you guys know I still have a registration out there for an Ironman. I want to get into racing some triathlons, but it is pretty outside of my training history to do long running and long biking. I really enjoy it when I do it, but I have a lot of hesitancy getting started, right? So, but I know that whenever some of these races open up again and I want to do them, I have to have a base, and I have to be able to kind of build on that base and prepare. Okay, so my thing right now that I've been doing for 2 months is Well, it started off as 4 days a week, and then I've changed it to 5, and I've actually been biking for 40 days in a row, every single day. The way that I've set it up is I have to run or bike for a minimum of 20 minutes, 5 days a week, right? And why that, right? If I run for 20 minutes or bike for 20 minutes, even every single day, that is not gonna prepare me for what I need to eventually do. But the thing is, just the same way that we say don't make a decision to not work out while you're comfy and cozy on a couch or while you're in bed, make that decision, like warm up for a little bit and then make the decision to not work out. Because oftentimes, like the chemistry in your body changes, you start feeling good, your heart rate's up, your blood's moving, you feel alive, and then you're like, yes, let's work out. Same thing, once I'm on my bike or on my feet for a few minutes, it doesn't take long before I'm like, okay, yeah, this feels good, this is where I need to be. And some days it is just 20 minutes, you know, if I'm pressed for time or if I kind of need to recover more. But oftentimes I'm on there for 45 minutes, 60 minutes, every now and then 2 or 3 hours. And that type of stuff will help build that base for me, but I'm not committing to, like if I were to say 200 kilometers per week on my bike, that's a lot. That's almost 30 kilometers a day when I think of the time commitment and like what I have to do. You know, I'm still doing CrossFit 5 days a week. It's just too much. It's too much and it's really easy to get behind. If Wednesday comes around and I'm not more than halfway, what do I do, right? Do I go all in for the next couple days or do I quit, right? Oftentimes we probably quit in that scenario, okay? So that's an example of kind of reverse engineering, thinking where you eventually want to be and then working back, right? I'm in an early phase of this. I'm not doing crazy Ironman training right now, but I'm in a phase that's going to allow me to do that when the time comes. Next thing, if you need some help with this, right? Goal setting is a skill. Not everybody is good at it. Not everybody is good at finding exactly, like, one, you want to know, you want to think about why you want to do what you want to do, because tying it to something that's important to you will make it important for you to actually achieve that. And then figuring out where to start, right? So this is what we do, you know, and especially right now, you know, we coach human beings. We don't coach movements. So if you need help with this, reach out to your coach. Reach out if you want to reach out to me. I'm happy to talk about this stuff. I love talking about this stuff. So hopefully this is day 31, or if you want to change some habits and, you know, kind of adjust things a little bit, you can start over at day 1. But check out those apps, Streaks on iOS and Grow on Android.